I recently participated in the Brackeys Game Jam, a sort of game development challenge where the participants had to make a game in a week, hosted by the YouTuber Brackeys. As is often the case with game jams, there was a theme that I had to stick to. That theme was holes. I got to work as soon as the theme was revealed, and I believe that I managed to create a pretty cool game in the end. My name is Holmqvist, and this is how I made Shade in a week. Contrary to how I felt when I saw the theme of the community game jam, I'm I actually got really excited and optimistic when I read the theme Holes. This theme lit up my imagination with a spark of creativity, and so I turned to my whiteboard to scribble down some ideas. The words that I wrote included explosions, portals, digging, gold fishing, and black hole, and many more. After having carefully examined all the alternatives that I'd created for myself, I chose explosions because, honestly, who doesn't love explosions? The game was supposed to be about you, the player, sneaking around on a spaceship and blowing up walls in order to rob the craft of its treasures. After working on this idea for a while, I realized that it was way too ambitious for the game jam. I only had 1 week, but this game needed at least a month. Thinking that I'd failed, I lost all hope of me ever completing the jam. I rounded up the first day by playing some Minecraft with my friends and declaring that I would probably drop out of the game jam. This seemed like a sensible choice since my sport break, a 1-week break for students in Sweden, had just begun and I should probably have been relaxing. But when I finally fell asleep after hours of mining and crafting, an idea approached me in my dreams. As soon as I woke up, I bolted to my computer and started coding, reviving the game jam dream once again. This time, the game was going to have the simplest core mechanics that I could think of: walking and reading. The player would simply collect letters from NPCs and deliver them to other NPCs. But Simon, I have you ask, what in the world does that have to do with holes? The answer to that question is the same as the answer to why people even need a mailman. Because I only had a week, I didn't have the time to create a world large enough for mailing to make sense under normal circumstances. But these were not normal circumstances. 3 months ago, Björn made himself a fortune from a magic potion that promised incredible eyesight. Customers would never need glasses again, nor would they need to turn on their lights in their home, for the dark was no longer as dark as it used to be. However, after a couple of weeks of disappointing results, his customers began experiencing severe light intolerance. As the light became hazardous, they were forced to dig dark holes to dwell in, since they could no longer keep their eyes open in light. Although slightly less burning than the sun, even the faint moonshine felt like acid on the retina. People became isolated, depending on the few who never drank the potion to deliver letters to acquaintances. You, the player, are one of those lucky few. I began creating a simple point-and-click based movement script for the player. I wanted this game to be played at a pretty slow pace, so the speed is quite low. I also added a secret sprint button that I could use while playtesting. It's top secret though, so don't tell anyone. I then decided to create the holes, since I figured those were pretty important. Just like the player, I started out with grayscale boxes. I found that games can be really fun with only bare bones graphics, so I initially focused all my attention on the functionality. Standing on the first hole and pressing arrow down made you fall into it, entering the humble abode of Björn. Upon landing on the cold floor, you would see his eyes in the dark with a letter beside them. The letter has its own script, containing all relevant information, including author, addressee, lines for Björn to say when you take the letter, and actual text. Unfortunately, Unity's little box for strings in the inspector is too small for the main text, so I came up with something else. I created actual text files on my computer, wrote the text in them, brought them into Unity, and connected them to the script using a variable type called text asset. I'd never used that type before, but now that I know about it, I'll probably use it again sometime in the future. This arrangement made it way easier for me to manage the letters and quickly skim through what I'd written. In retrospect, I wish I'd spent a little more time planning the story before I started coding. Although it all turned out pretty good in the end, the background to the story still could have been a bit clearer. I also had a sign that would let the player leave the hole, because you don't want to stay in a dark color with the stranger for too long. Upon doing so with the letter in hand, a sign would magically appear in the top right corner of the screen. Ta-da! I made work kind of like the hole, where you had to stand near it and press one of the arrow keys to travel to another scene. Which arrow key you had to press depending on which way the sign pointed, which I thought was kind of neat. Looking back at things though, the controls were super confusing and all over the place. I sat my poor mom down with the game once it was finished and let her playtest it. She did incredibly well in general, but struggled with the controls. I wanted to go back and fix it, but the deadline was approaching fast and I had to submit the game within the hour. When the player entered the next scene, he or she was presented with yet another hole. After descending into the darkness once again, a new character by the name of Alice became visible. After giving her the letter, she gives you another pack. I won't spoil the whole plot of the game, but I can say that you eventually end up in the rocky area, which I'm extremely proud of. I don't consider myself to be much of an artist, but damn, those rocks look good. So good in fact that I put them on the ending scene. Now that the game was finished, I used this extremely helpful tutorial by Brackeys himself to package the game and install and then upload it to itch.io. I made a little thumbnail in Pixlr with a quick background story of the game and submitted it to the jam. I chose the name Shade solely because of the fact that it had something to do with darkness. It happened to be quite memorable, so I'm very satisfied with my choice. Thank you all for watching. I'll put a link to the game in the description as well as a Brackeys video that guided me through the whole install thing. A huge thank you goes to the Brackeys team for both the video and the jam. You guys are amazing. If you like this video, then I'd suggest gently just tapping the like button without much force at all. Unlike his other YouTubers who encourage you to hit it. I mean, my god, the like button does have a family, you know? The subscribe button, however, does not, so feel free to punch it as hard as you want.